Okay, so we'll do another Rashi today. It's Wednesday, so we'll do Rashi from the fourth Aliyah, and I'll bring up the pasuk on my screen. So actually, if you think about the trajectory of the parsha, we learned a little bit a couple of days ago. We learned yesterday. We're going further and further into the parsha, and we come upon the war of the 4 kings and the 5 kings. And after that war of the 4 kings and the 5 kings, you have this encounter between Avram Avinu and Malkitzedek Melech Shalem. It says here in Pasuk Yud-Chet, Malkitzedek Melech Shalem hotzi Lecha v'yayin v'hu chohen le'el elyon. Malkitzedek comes and greets Avram Avinu with wine, with bread. These are the symbols of trying to treat a person nicely after they finish the war, after they might be tired from the war. It's a symbol of bringing people together through a meal. Vayivarchehu, and then he blesses him. And this is the pasuk that I want to focus on today. Vayivarchehu. Vayomer Baruch Avram le'el elyon konei shamayim va'aretz. Blessed is Avram le'el elyon, to the one above, to the God above, konei shamayim va'aretz, the one who acquires shamayim va'aretz, who acquires heaven and earth. Now, to my knowledge, this is actually the first time in the Torah that anybody refers to God by name. It's a big deal in this pasuk. We have earlier psukim where the Torah tells us in a narrative form, right, Vayikra b'shem Hashem, that Avram called out in the name of Hashem, but it's not Avram calling Hashem by name. It's the Torah telling us, for example, over here in the beginning of the parsha, Vayetek misham, he comes into the land, he comes to Beit El. We talked about this pasuk yesterday. He makes a mizbeach, Vayikra b'shem Hashem. He calls out in the name of Hashem. So the narrator, the Torah, so to speak, tells us that he called out in the name of Hashem. But I don't think, if I'm correct, that there's any time where someone refers to God by name, either to God or to someone else, until our pasuk here, where Malkitzedek refers to Hashem as Konei Shamayim Va'aretz, the one who acquires heaven and earth. So that's just an interesting fact to begin with. So Rashi on this pasuk tells us, what is Konei Shamayim Va'aretz? Kemo osei shamayim va'aretz. Konei shamayim, konei liknot, is to acquire something, but here it's no different than osei shamayim va'aretz, the one who makes the heavens and the earth. Why? Because al yedei asiyatan kina'an liyot shelo. Because by making them, he acquired them to be his own. Now that's very interesting. The Maharal actually raises a question here on our pasuk, and he says, everybody, it's a little background noise. Okay. The Maharal, in his commentary to Rashi here in Gur Aryeh, has a question. He says, Lo yadati mi hichriach oto lezeh hapirush. Why did Rashi insert these words into his commentary? Rashi doesn't add anything. Yeah, obviously, anybody who makes something acquires something. So why is he equating oseh shamayim va'aretz with konei shamayim va'aretz? They're really no different. What is Rashi adding to our understanding of the pasuk? So he says, after all, ki ein zeh da'as chazal she'amru Psachim dalid kinyanim kana HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'olamo. There's a Gemara in Psachim which says that God acquired 4 things in the world. One of them is shamayim va'aretz, based on our pasuk. So what's the point of equating oseh and konei? So the Maharal here continues to say that perhaps everything in the world, of course, belongs to Hashem. Anything Hashem created, and he created everything in the world, belongs to him. But maybe the language of konei, kinyan, acquisition, is a stronger form of relationship between the thing and the person who created it. And that's why, as the Maharal goes on to explain in that passage, that the Gemara isolates 4 things, right? Because you have the same question on the Gemara as you have on Rashi. What does it mean, dalid kinyanim? That 4 things were acquired by Hashem. There's so many things, right? Why is Torah and Eretz Yisrael and Bnei Yisrael, these 4 things, God's acquisition, everything God created is acquired by him? The same question as we have in our Rashi, you could ask on that Gemara in Psachim, says the Maharal. The point of the matter is, yes, of course, on a simple level, anything that you create is yours. But the language of kinyan indicates a greater association between the two. And what Rashi is pointing out on this pasuk, as Malkitzedek names God Konei Shamayim Va'aretz, is that God has a very intimate relationship with the world, a very intimate relationship with Shamayim Va'aretz. And I find that to be fascinating, something we can all think about, the 2 levels in the Maharal. that many things that we do in this world, or activities that we engage in this world, or things that we create in this world are ours by default, but we don't have an intimate connection with them. What are the things in the world that we connect to just by default versus the things that we connect to on a deeper level? Things that you truly invest in. I think that's what Rashi is trying to point out here, Klape Shmaya, in terms of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's true of us as well, that the more you invest yourself in something, the closer the connection becomes between the two. And the investment is not always a positive investment. Sometimes you invest yourself a lot in something because things are not going well. But in the end of the day, you feel closer to that thing, that object, that person. The greater investment brings you to a level of not just being an osei, but a kone, someone who truly acquires something in a deep way. And I think it's something important for us to think about. What are those things in the world that we truly have an intimate connection with? And if we don't, and we want to, then how do we invest ourselves further and further in that thing to become a kone, to become a person who truly acquires it, to become something that becomes truly part of who we are and part of our identity. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi. You too.
Okay, be well.
Thank you.